All right, this is going to be going over today, which was Thursday's price action in the morning in the trade. I did not take it today, however, I just was unable to get up this morning and get to the charts. But if you go and look yesterday, I had posted, it looked like this. Had notated this key level. Down here, you can watch the video that I made last night making this to see why I chose this. You can see right here on YM. Same thing going into today. Key level right above previous all-time high. Right? If we draw out this range here, right, on a different time frame. But anyways, this is just the high that's resting above EQ, right? So anyways, that's what I was looking at. We can look on the 4-hour. And I'll show you here. There we go. Okay, so this is what I was looking at going to bed last night. Right, in my opinion, and I discussed this the other day, right? We are in a premium, right? We're in a premium of this range, right? Right, just above EQ here, right? We're in a premium of this range, but also this extension here, um, right? This extension without a rebalance is why I am looking for that, right? Because this is unhealthy expansion. Yes, we rebalance here. But you can see why. Why does this rebalance and put in this low right above EQ, right? Why is that happening? Well, and I'll get into it in a sec. And then yesterday, previous day low, right? Resting, we stopped here, right? Why we didn't take it yesterday? We didn't take this key level, right? So this became, like always, I say, I draw my attention to what unmanipulated lows, right? So resting above EQ, right? Or just in discount, whatever the case, So anyways, this is why I chose this level. This is an unmanipulated low on the 4-hour. Good rebalance point for healthier expansion, right? But anyways, so this is what I was looking at going into this morning. I do want to go down to the 15 so I can explain. So I took some longs last night on NQ and YM. Um, Boom. Okay, so let me go to. Okay, so I initially I just had looked late. I wasn't intentionally trading. But something I want to draw attention to here is um we have here, right? We're at EQ of the previous lower wick. Okay, and you can see that on the 4-hour here. I notated that across here. So you can see that we build an OB and validate it where? Right at EQ of previous week, right? Right? We're using EQ, right, to measure sensitivity in price. So this OB gets built, then we consolidate, right? And we have unmanipulated lows here, right? This is not manipulation, right? Correct manipulation here. This is not correct manipulation. Why, right? G and truth stuff here, easy, right? This is incorrect PO3. Okay, this is open high. So therefore, this is unmanipulated still, right? So anyways, so going into today, and then I'll go back to the trade I took last night. But anyways, the way I left it last night, I was anticipating, right, YMES to come up to previous day EQ as well as this 4-hour OB. So this right here, right? This OB, it's validated here, right? We get the CSD here at yesterday's 10 a.m., right? So what does that mean? That means that after this move, we have not rebalanced this OB, right? So I'm pulling EQ of that, and then also the daily upper wick EQ of that. Those are two areas in which I expect price to be sensitive, and I want to see how we respond there, and that will give me direction. But I am looking for lower in a rebalance given correct manipulation, etc. So that's how I left it last night. Before I took the trade, and then I'll show you the trade I took. I missed that rebalance. Had I been watching, I could have got in here, right? But anyways, I didn't. I got in up here. Do. Okay, let me see. Right here. Yeah, okay, 11. That's 8 o'clock our time. I should have got in here, but I wasn't paying attention to run out this high. Oh, but anyway, so my initial interest here. Okay, and it looks really bad here. Okay, but if I was trading the micros, and the micro chart was way cleaner, and especially in terms of CSDs and like creating the correct structure. But I'm just showing you here on the full size. So, anyways, measured this range here, right? Took Asia high. Okay, we can see that we're consolidating here on YM when we take this high. Okay, so we know GXC, right? You can't reverse from consolidation, right? Both have to put in a reversal signature in order for the assets to reverse. So just like always, we take our draw and we consolidate. What's going to happen? Expansion, right? Measuring this previous range, right? Which is also really the previous 15. Actually, yeah. Well, anyways, this is I draw it from here to here, right? EQ. We come back to that. Now, when do we come back to that? We come back to that at 11 o'clock here, right? And I believe. I wish I could see. Oh yeah. That's right. I bought right here. Now, why did I buy right here? Because this is EQ, right? This is EQ of the range. So I know this is a rebalance. Yes, I can wait for the CSD, but in this case I did not. Because of what YM's doing here. Right? YM's doing what? It's just building on top of, right, 11's opening price. So I already know continuation. We're doing strength switch. At least that's my intention. And my draw was here, and then up here at those or towards that. Now I don't ever really take overnight trades, and if I do, like, it's whatever. But I am realizing now that if I am going to take overnight trades, you either just need to commit to like one full size because the range is so smaller. And I'll explain what happened here. So anyways, I entered here. And then same thing, I entered on YM as well. Right. I can't remember, somewhere in here, and then my stop was down here. Yeah. So anyways, and then once I entered here, I put my stop right here. So it was good. RR, and I'll just play what happens here. We did not have a 15-minute SMT, and I was watching this, and it did give me hesitation. We had good structure, but look at YM. YM was like, blasting. So I was worried that we could see some sort of rebalance first, and I really didn't want to get caught in that. So anyways, that's what I was watching. But we were stacking and building these OBs. Anyways, and what I should have done is I was in 4 micros, and what I should have done is the thing is like from my entry, at this point, I had also taken it on paper on full size. This was like 1,000 or whatever. I would have just closed that. But because I was in micros and I wanted more, which is obviously shouldn't have anyways. I was holding to target. So anyways, drawing out key points, rebalance points, then I think we're good. But the problem is YM, right? Strength switch. I was waiting for NQ to catch up to YM, which is why I was in NQ and YM, just because. But then look, you can see right here we get the strength switch. And I observed that, but I also wasn't in here. I went to bed, so my stops were where they were. But you can see we created a 15-minute SMT, which I feel good about. But then here's where the issue becomes. We end up running back. But then right here, we end up, and I only, I got stopped out on both. But why rebalance, right? Oops, rebalance. So, anyways, that was last night's trade. So now we can just run through today's. Sorry, I forgot. I'm lagging a little bit here. All right, let's just do it like this. Well, okay, so this is where we were at. Going into market open pretty much. And again, I woke up late. Right, Asian, then we enter consolidation where right below EQ of the daily upper wick and EQ of that OB. Same thing here, EQ daily upper wick. And then let's look here. Same thing. Consolidating where right under EQ, right? So anyways, that was at what time was this at? Yeah, 5:45. So now we can just play this through and then drop down here to the 1 minute. So it's 7. Okay. So here you can see we hit EQ on NQ. Okay. And then here's 8:30. You can see on YM rebalance, right? Now expanding, right? Where? Up here, right? Up here, previous day high, right? Same thing here, expanding, right? Consolidation. Look, SMT here, right? You see here. So we get this 15-minute SMT, right? When prior to market open, right? So now this is exactly what I would have wanted to see, right? 8:45 rebalance, 9 o'clock continues to rebalance, right? So now coming into market open, I'd be watching to see how YM is going to react, and whether we open low first or run up high and run out. So that's what I was watching for, or I would have been watching for. Now, here we go. Okay, so we can see here 9:30, right? Look at YM. YM takes off, runs out those. Same thing here with ES. But what's NQ doing? We're just sitting here in consolidation, right? Let's slow that down. Right? Okay. Now, could you have taken here 40? Oh, wait. Yeah. What is this? 44 after the CSD? Yeah. Right. But you could have also. Is it going to work here? See, we already had a CSD. right? Yeah. We already had the CSD prior to market open. Then we get the OB right here. And then this is just a rebalance. And then here, right? Open high back in here. So anyways, we could have gone and waited 45 here. But you can see, right? This was the draw that I had marked out. Okay, now the reason you can take 44 is like 44 closes below where the midnight open price, right? Okay, and YM has already taken that, right? So now we have SMT between these two, right? And between ES because ES took rebalance to these points as well, right? So they've reached their goal, right? 10 o'clock on YM, right? Opens into 45, right? Now I wouldn't have, I mean, could you have, you can enter down here too, but this was fine. Open high of 45. I would have taken this here because of this CSD. And also if you look, right, this is just rejecting there. Rebalance. So this was good. I would have taken 45. And then run it all the way down. But you can also take 10 o'clock, right? Consolidation. Okay. We get to CSD. Yep. Right. So now we're in consolidation. So what? YM can catch up potentially. Let's see. Yep. So now, yep. So anyways, this was a really nice day. Super clean up here, even here. Right to target. Boom. Anyways, that was a lot of points. So it was a really nice day, really clean setup. So anyways, that was the review from last night and then today.